because I can deal with chaos. Like I can deal with fucking depression and chaos. I kind of thrive in that
there,
space.
yeah.
But when it comes to things going good, that's when like the addict part of me is like, burn it all down.
Welcome to the Kevin Clancy Show. I've been in this game over a decade, and I knew I needed a place where I could run wild on my own solo podcast, where I tell personal stories, I deep dive into conspiracy theories, we rip through the current events of the day, and we do sit-down conversations with the most interesting people on the internet. Make sure you click subscribe so you don't miss an episode. What's up, you mutts? It's another episode of the Kevin Clancy Show. It's the Spite Tour, Phase 3. Episode 3, featuring Rosebud Baker, a.k.a. Whiskey Fists, one of my favorite comics in the game, one of the baddest bitches in the game, who is right now popping off, which I love to see. Being on, doing KFC Radio, which I believe to be, aside from like Joe Rogan and some of the, Two Bears, where we're talking about like the actual comics who have their own podcasts, I think KFC Radio is the preeminent stand-up comedy world podcast. I mean, we get absolutely every major comic, every up-and-coming comic, everybody goes through KFC Radio at some point. And I mean, if you look at our roster and our guests for the last couple of years, and specifically the last like 6 months, 6 weeks, it's been an absolute tour de force of everybody in the comedy world. And so I've had I've been lucky enough to meet all of these people and get to know some of them. And then watching a few of them, I've had the pleasure of meeting early while they're still like grinding and working at it, and then blowing up as they've gotten to know Barstool and KFC Radio. And Rosebud is one of those people. She started out Fights saw her in Chicago. I stumbled across her on Instagram. We started following her. She comes on Friday Night Pints. She's busting her balls. She's fucking around, doing the podcast. We're all having a good time. All of a sudden, you look up and she's opening for Bert Kreischer. She's on Mark Maron's podcast. She's doing TV with Whitney. She's, blowing up with all of her work on tour now and getting like major gigs. And it's awesome to watch because she's one of the ones who just doesn't give a fuck and keeps it very real and is not catering to anyone or anything. And so hearing her whole story, it's actually very fascinating. Comes from a very powerful family with her grandfather being a very prominent figure in the American politics world. And her family went through tragedy, losing her younger sister. And through it all, just one of the funniest people I've ever met. So Rosebud on to keep the Spite Tour rolling. Steady out here, just continuing to book whoever I think is best for the show. Shout out to Biz, who just did last week's Behind the Blog. If you haven't got a chance to watch Biz's interview, it's unbelievable. If you're not a hockey person, fear not. Biz is just one of the most interesting cats you'll ever come across. So check that out and Rosebud today. First, I got a couple bones to pick. We got to talk about that. I also got to talk about Black Friday coming up. Right now, I'm rocking the Quality hoodie. You got to get yourself the Quality brand hoodie. One of my favorite lines that we've introduced. I don't know why. I just love these fucking koalas, man. And we threw the little Quality brand on it. It's an NFT that I own called the Crazy Koalas. And it's just this cool, looks like, graffiti, streetwear type of artsy NFT artwork. So we're releasing the Quality hoodies this Black Friday. We've got the one already with this is printed on the back. We got a new one printed on the front. I also got these Moon Man prints. If you're watching on the YouTube right now, we've got these canvas prints that my man Moon Man Sam makes where, you've got the guys making 30 Rock with the Moon Man eating lunch with them. We've got the Moon Man doing the runway dunk at the Jordan versus Dominique Wilkins dunk contest back in the day. We've got Moon Man winning the green jacket with Tiger Woods. Got the Muhammad Ali, most famous picture in sports history, in my opinion, in the boxing ring with the Moon Man, and the Wilt Chamberlain 1969. So these prints will all be available for purchase at the Barstool store. You can get them, hang them up wherever you want. just a very cool product that we've come a long way since just T-shirts and gimmick shit. We've got a lot of cool clothes, and in this case, artwork coming up. So get a lot of your Black Friday stuff. There's a bunch more on sale. I'll list it all out on the blog and on social media, all the different hoodies, clothes, and everything we got on sale for Black Friday. But my bones to pick, brought to you by 3Chi. My bones to pick. My first bone to pick is with Taylor Swift. It's actually more with Taylor Swift fans, and it's not even really with Taylor Swift fans as much as it's with myself. Because I wish I loved anything as much as Swifties love Taylor. I mean, I wish I loved anything half as much, a fraction as much as the Swifties love Taylor. It's gotten insane at this point. And part of my problem is Swifties are so quick to be like, what'd you fucking say? I'll fucking stab a bitch. You say something bad about Taylor, I'll fucking kill you, man. Like, I don't know if it's because every single song is about a breakup, so you're always taking sides, and you're always, like, picking apart a relationship, or like, oh, I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal was that bad of a guy. What? I'll fucking kill you. I don't know if it's that. I feel like she's always been kind of embroiled in some sort of controversy where you're always picking sides, so you always feel like obligated as a fan to defend her. But I mean, it's gotten out of control. Her PR team, they have put on a masterclass. Because not too long ago, do not forget, not too long ago, Taylor Swift was not like the likable slay queen slay that she was. I mean, of course, there's always been Swifties. Of course, she's always been successful in winning Emmys and Grammys. I'm not saying by any means she was ever not like a mega success. We all know that. I'm saying within that world, within that, framework of course she's successful. There was a time where Taylor was like the gangly, unlikable girl, where everything about her was phony and fake and forced. She went through that phase where she was always dancing in her seat at the award shows, and it was like she was trying way too hard to dance and look cool. She was best friends with everybody. Like every time she went somewhere new, it was Selena Gomez or Ariana Grande or some Victoria's Secret model. Everyone was always in her girl gang, where it was like, you can't possibly be best friends with all of these people. And she was just so fake and over the top. And now she is the queen. And maybe it's because she dropped that whole act. Maybe it's because she just started being her normal self. And it was like, oh, this is way more likable. You're just like a normal human now who happens to make great music. But, they have turned the whole fucking thing around. Hats off to them. And I think it's because, I'm going to say something controversial here. I think the two best things that ever happened to Taylor Swift's career was Scooter Braun buying her music and Kanye and Kim being like lying, bullying assholes to her. Because it's exactly what I just described. It created this like Taylor versus the world, Taylor versus Scooter versus Kanye versus Kim, and it rallied all of her fans to make her this, like, she was the underdog. She was like the victim in everything, which is crazy to be Taylor Swift's the underdog when she's like, one of the biggest names in music history since she's like 5 years old. But she was the one that everybody had to like, we'll die for Taylor because all these people are being horrible. If Scooter Braun doesn't buy Taylor Swift's music, none of this is happening. There's no Taylor's version. There's no From the Vault. We're not doing All Too Well 10-minute versions. She's just making new albums, and that's that. Think about that. This whole reissuing of all of her albums plus new songs has been undeniably the best thing that's happened to her. The biggest thing that's going for her right now is she re-releases all this music. She does it in the form of this like feminist artist crusade. I'm going to go own my own music because fuck Scooter Braun. Releases some new tracks in the process. New merch, new show, new tour. I mean, everything is based on this, war against Scooter. That if he's not an asshole who goes and buys her all of our masters, what is she doing? She's just making like a new album, regular ass music that isn't, some people buy it because they like it, some people don't. There's no the fans who feel this personal duty to defend Taylor Swift. That doesn't exist. And that's more recent. I feel like obviously like the past year or so she's been putting out these new albums. The Kim and Kanye thing is what really, I think, completely turned around her PR image, where it was like, oh no, Taylor's the one telling the truth. Taylor's a normal person. People like Kanye and Kim, they're the scumbags. All the people that, she's embroiled in some drama with, well, we trust Taylor now. She's the one who's telling the truth. We've got tapes, we got receipts, we got video showing that Kim and Kanye were the asshole bullies. My girl Taylor is, telling the truth. And so all of a sudden, she becomes the girl to, rally around, the girl to ride for. And that's the most important thing. What I can't understand, and I know I'm already in trouble with the Swifties. I know they're already going to be mad at me. I know I'm already like the white cis male who's wrong, and I'm going to get all the Swifties in my mentions. It's too late for me, so I'm just going to go all in. I just don't even understand the music. Like, she's a great songwriter. I definitely know that. When I read some of her lyrics and I see everybody tweeting it out and I see it on social media, very powerful lyrics, very well written, strong poetry in motion, right? But the music itself is like, to me, it's like elevator music. I don't get it at all. And when I compare it to the other like powerful female singers or just, male and female singers in general, I just don't get it, man. And I like I like pop music. There's some Taylor songs I don't mind. Listen to Blank Space and some of those ones. But every time I've given it a shot, I'm like, this feels like music I listen to at the grocery store when I'm shopping. This feels like, you play this in the dentist office. I just don't see it or hear it the way everyone else does, and I hate it because I feel fucking left out. I want to like Taylor music the way all you guys do. The same way that I want to like new rap. The same way I want to love all the new shit that comes out. I'm always trying, and I'm always like, this? It's fine. I just don't think it's like knock your socks off. Again, the writing is, the lyrics are. But the rest of it, it's like, some casual piano, some melancholy guitar, sing a song about your ex, sing a song about a boy. Rinse, wash, and repeat, man. I don't know. It doesn't strike me. Here at Barstool Sports, we had the Whitney Houston versus Taylor Swift debate, which was, I don't think the rest of the internet was doing that. I think that was strictly a Barstool thing. And it was the whitest of all time. I mean, the amount of people who were, poo-pooing Whitney Houston as if she's like a nobody was crazy. And it really is it's an argument. It's apples and oranges, if you want to do this. It's comparing, Wilt Chamberlain to Michael Jordan. We're talking about different eras, different styles, different landscapes of music that you just can't, these are two different games. These are two different games, two different players that you really cannot compare. But all I know is that, let the rap and R&B worlds find out that the white folks at Barstool Sports were debating Taylor versus Whitney. Oh my God. Their heads would explode. If you want to talk about, like, if you were trying to think of a versus matchup, if you went to the people at Versus and you said, we want to do a Whitney Houston posthumous versus challenge, and they said, oh, that's interesting, who should it be? And they said, Taylor Swift, people would go fucking crazy. And I don't know enough about either catalog. All I know is Whitney Houston selling 45 million records with like the third highest selling album of all time. And I Will Always Love You and the ballads and the power music. It's like, do you think of Taylor as like a great singer?
Not in the sense of like Whitney Houston.
Yeah, I think if I'm talking like Whitney, Mariah, Christina, Ariana, fucking, throwback to like, Aretha Franklin and like these big voices.
The thing with them, they all belt. They show off their range, and like she hasn't done that. I don't think that she necessarily can't, but like she plays the pop music, so she stays within she stays within what's going to be singable to the audience. I don't think that means she can't do it. But everything that she's done so far.
You think she could do like the Beyonce, like
I don't know,
which I don't like, by the way. I can't stand that diva shit.
I'm trying to think of a time that I've seen her go like very high. I don't know if I have, but
which is also not like, like Janet Jackson, Brandy. There are plenty of people that are like very chill and they kind of have this softer. Aaliyah was like that. Aaliyah was like, people loved her, but she wasn't, high octaves and shit. She was just kind of like chill and very like smooth and raspy type voice. Taylor, I think is I just wouldn't say that Taylor's like singing is what puts her, to me what separates her is the lyrics she writes and how she, at least in the past, she played all like the instruments and shit, right?
Yeah, she like wrote all the music, especially on her earlier albums.
Right. When she was country, even though she's from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I feel like she was like trying to be something she's not for so long. Like she was supposed to be this like Southern belle country star, and it was like she's from fucking Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah, that's the country like industry is going to put everyone as if they're from the South. Even most of the artists are
not right.
They're from all around.
But also, it's like Keith Urban's from fucking Australia, right?
Yeah.
Like some of these guys have nothing. Yeah. So, but I think she tried to like fit that, and then eventually got to a point where she was like, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna do me," and that's when everyone has rallied around her. But when you make a comparison, like the people around here. The Kelly Keegs and Nate and Feidelberg and the diehards, of course, you can make your argument, but it was almost like to be compared to Whitney Houston.
Yeah, no.
It's like saying like a new basketball player being like, I mean, he's not Michael Jordan. It's like you don't have to be like, well, no, actually, it's like we're talking about probably the greatest voice of all time. Probably like the highest grossing female artist of all time, if it's not already Taylor. Like, Whitney is not anybody to, if you lose to Whitney in this argument, it's not a big deal.
It's one of the things though, like the way it is apples and oranges, I can't name 5 Whitney Houston songs.
Yeah.
Like I know
different
the big ones, but
I
like
Dance with Somebody.
Yeah, but like once you break outside those, I don't know as many like Taylor Swift has had so many hits.
But that's also, that's a white and black, a young and old. There's, there's a million differences between the two. And that's also, there's a generation thing going on for sure.
Absolutely.
There's an ethnic thing going on for sure. And again, we're the only ones having this argument. It's not like the internet has had it. But it's just the reaction to it, like the Taylor arguments are it's just crazy. And I mean, you've seen it with like the Beehive and the Monsters with Lady Gaga and whatever Mariah Carey is, the Lamely. Like everyone's got crazy fucking fans. But Taylor at this point, it's like just stop fucking yelling. All right, I get it. Okay, I know someone else bought her music.
Dude, Noah Ives is getting crucified right now. Producer Chicks in the Office because he's like, I kind of just want to hear Jake Gyllenhaal's side, like
sure,
and like because he made a good point. He's like, do we think it's 100% true to what her artist portrayed as? She's like, no, that's an idealized version.
There's an artist version going on, and there's just like your side of the relationship. Every single breakup has like 3 sides, as they say, your side, her side, and the truth, right? So Taylor has now made it into a song, so it's the artist version. She also was like 20 or something at the time?
19.
19?
Or 20, yeah, it was 20. The big thing in the new song, he missed her 21st birthday. And then like, so now people are like, oh, because the first song after that in the album is 22. And it's, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. And it's like, people are now connecting that where it's like, oh, yeah, she was all hyped about her 22nd birthday. It's like because her 21st, she was stuck waiting for the guy.
But like, so we're talking about a girl who was...
That seems like it's probably true. That is a little too on the nose to...
I would imagine, yeah. And I'm sure Jake Gyllenhaal was an older, successful, good-looking Hollywood guy. I'm sure the relationship wasn't great. But we're talking about a girl who was like 19, 20, 21 years old. What girl in a relationship like that do you know to be like the level-headed, rational, not overly emotional person? I'm sure Jake Gyllenhaal was an asshole to her. I'm sure at times he was like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, we're breaking up or whatever the fuck it was. You can't take breakup songs to be like a courtroom legal deposition here. And you can't even forget about if you make it into a song. If you're just like venting and gushing about getting dumped or a bad relationship, like take all of that with a massive grain of salt, let alone if you're going to then turn it into like pop. I bet you Taylor Swift is sitting at home being like, Well, I mean, I'm just gonna let my fans think that was the case. 'Cause, I mean, how many times can you go through? How many dramatic breakups can one girl have? Is every single one this dramatic? There hasn't ever been just like we dated for a little while and it's all good, whatever. Never that's happened with Taylor Swift. It's always something. It's always something with Taylor.
Jake Gyllenhaal's out here taking guitar lessons, just trying to be like, no, this is my fucking side.
Yeah, I wish. I hope Jake Gyllenhaal puts out like a fucking battle record. I want Jake Gyllenhaal to spit like a fucking rap verse. Be like, fuck this bitch.
I want him showing up on the red carpet with the fucking red scarf.
Yeah, like, doing that some would shit. Be
just go full hero.
Yes, lean into this shit.
And then
you can have like a reconciliation and you fucking come out on tour. You pop out on stage while she's on tour, or she, appears in a movie or whatever. Like this is the blueprint, man. The way that Drake and Kanye are gonna be on stage all of a sudden, she does a music video with Jake Gyllenhaal. And that's the other thing, man. Like, I know that she is so successful that she has such a machine behind her and everything is done so methodically and so maniacally and so well done. But like, she drops the music video with Miles Teller and whoever else it was, Blake Lively, I think.
Blake Lively directed it. She stars in it.
And it's like, Teller. Oh, that's now the best music video of all time. And the All Too Well thing was the best thing. I mean, not everything can be the best thing of all time every single time.
I'll stand up for the All Too Well music video. Fucking, there's like, I don't like when music videos do the break where they actually do acting. This one was like...
It was like a little mini movie, right?
Yeah, you were connected to it. Like Sadie Sink from Stranger Things, unbelievable. Like,
I saw it. Yeah. And it was good, and I am cool with that. But then, like, 2 days later, she puts out another music video, and we're doing the same level of hype. It's like,
I didn't get through that one. I had to shut that one off.
Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. It's like, let's talk about the really good one. Not every single thing can always be the greatest that's ever been put out. Or else I just kind of, I kind of lose, your level of like trust, I guess, where it's just like, okay, we'll find out if it's actually that good or if it really is that impressive or whatever, because everything she does, it's fascinating. And I'm coming across as a hater, of course, as I always do, but it's more like I'm fascinated by the PR behind it and the story of it and like basically the making of a cult, the creation of a cult leader. Where it's like, how do you reach this point where you can do no wrong in the eyes of like a bajillion people, where everything you do is absolutely perfect all of the time? She's never, like I can be a fan of someone, like a TV show, enjoy an artist, and I can be like, oh, that album sucked. Like, that wasn't that good. Or, oh, that guy, like, I love I love his movie, but like his TV show sucked. Or like, oh, that's a great entertainer, but he's a real scumbag of a person. I can separate all that. I have no problem admitting that. I don't think, but Taylor, I mean, in the eyes of Swifties, there is no debating. There's no questioning. There is no nothing. It is 100% all or nothing. You're either a Swiftie or you're the fucking enemy, and we will like harass you and tell you that you don't deserve to breathe air. It's amazing. I mean, she's a queen, no doubt. And she's very savvy about how she does it. Like she let Kanye kind of like ruin himself by like overdoing it. Like she kind of sits back and just lets everyone else, fuck up while she's, her hands are never dirty. She's Queen Taylor, and it's, if I was her, I'd be like, Scooter, I don't fucking want my music. Like, you just keep, what if? Whoa, get your tinfoil hats out. What if Taylor Swift all along has been dating Scooter Braun, okay? They are the power couple behind all of this. And they come up with the idea, I'll have Scooter buy all of my masters, and technically that's still me because we're together. She's still cashing in on her music because Scooter, quote unquote, bought it. And now she has this crusade to make her own music. She gets to remake it. Everyone re-buys all of that shit. And now she's getting the royalties when the new ones play and when the old ones play, because her and Scooter Braun have been in bed the whole time together, literally and business-wise, figuratively. That's a fucking story to tell right there. Don't care about Jake Gyllenhaal. Don't care about, didn't she date a Kennedy, a Jonas brother, and a partridge in a pear tree? The real guy that she's been fucking this whole time is Scooter Braun. And the whole feud, fabricated. This is Vince McMahon WWF shit. From the beginning, it was always Taylor and Scooter. It was always Taylor and Scooter. It was never a feud. It was never real. It's all a work and all an act to double your money. Really like quadruple your money because you're doubling it because you're making new albums, and then you're doubling it again because you're still getting paid on both the new and the old. I mean, she's got money coming out of her eyeballs because she's got this army of cult members that she just plays them like puppets on the string of her tennis shoes. Well done, Taylor, you gangly bitch. Nobody does it better than you. Shit. She dominates. There's no stopping her right now. Do you think anybody, you think Beyonce can still go toe-to-toe with Taylor Swift right now? Beyonce's just not active enough, right?
I'm more afraid of the Bayhive than I am of the Swifties.
Are you? That's my question. Who is more powerful? Who is not to be trifled with more, Beyonce or the Swifties? Because I think it's kind of like they're equal. It's a very ethnic divide. It's a little bit of a generational divide, but not really. They're still kind of like from the same era. But Beyonce's just not out here. She's not out here doing new albums every 2 seconds because she has to remake her old music because Jay-Z fake bought her music. That's what Jay-Z should do. She buy all the Beyonce masters, and then she should come out. She should have had Jay-Z buy all her masters, then come out with Lemonade, say he cheated on me, say I need to remake my music, and then she could have done it. But Taylor beat her to the punch by dating Scooter Braun first. So right now I got to give the edge to the Swifties, but I will never doubt Beyonce either. Those two, that's a rough and rowdy I want to see. That's the verses right there. Do Taylor versus Beyonce and see who wins that shit, not Whitney Houston. My second bone to pick is courtesy of Cuts Clothing. Cuts Clothing, their hoodies, their t-shirts, their long sleeve tees, they are comfortable clothing that is stylish, that is made of quality materials, that is cut and in a nice way where you can have that modern, classic, sleek look, where you have a V-neck or a crew neck or the Henley look. You have on the bottom, you have the split hem, the scoop hem, the elongated look. All of these are monochromatic t-shirts, hoodies, and shirts that are just, your white, black, tan, teal, stone gray, slate, all of these nice classic looks. Plain, no graphic design, everything that is a timeless, classy look for, the older guy who wants to be able to wear the same shirt to the office that he can on a date, that he can wear around the house, that he can wear with his boys, that he can wear out with the lady. All of it plays at any given time. You never have to worry about, does it match? Does it mix with this? It mixes and matches with absolutely everything. Casual look, business look, whatever. No matter where you are, Cuts Clothing always looks sharp. It's stylish and comfortable all at the same time, and will never go out of style because it is that OG, never gonna be never gonna be on trend, and with the different variety to pick from for all occasions and all seasons. Right now, you go to cutsclothing.com and you can get 30% off site-wide. No promo code necessary, no URL necessary. Right now, we're starting that holiday season sale early. Black Friday sales are already happening. So they're calling it Shipageddon 2021. So they're trying to get all that shipping out on time, making sure you get everything for the holidays so you don't have to worry. So go to Cuts Clothing, CUTS clothing.com, 30% off site-wide. My next bone to pick is with the self-checkout technology of the world. Okay? I got in a fight last night, Sunday night. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm coming home from the city. I went out and I saw Cheeto Santino, the Red Rocket, Andrew Santino. I saw his New York City Comedy Festival stand up. One of the best hours of comedy I've ever seen in my life. So fucking tight, man. Every word, every joke, punchline, every expression, everything. Not one wasted moment in that show. He had me howling. He had me thinking, unbelievable show, Cheeto. Well done. So I'm coming back from the city, 11 o'clock at night. I go to CVS. New CVS by me is almost completely done with people behind the registers. No humans. Everything is self-checkout. 11 o'clock at night, I'm buying, naturally, milk, a bunch of cereal, and some snacks. The essentials. So I'm buzzing, beep, and I put it down. Beep, I put it down. Please put your item in the item for the baggage, whatever. And I'm like, I'm putting it there. And it's telling me no. So then I'm like, wait a minute. what do you want me to do? Like, now I can't. So then the person has to come over. And they swipe they take their key, then beep, go ahead again. They're looking at me like I'm the idiot. I'm like, okay, fine. Once, no big deal, whatever. Beep, I put it in. Stops again. Please wait for help. Put it in your, she tells me, oh, you're putting things on the wrong side. You got to put it on the other side. And I'm looking, I'm like, no, I'm not, first of all. I'm putting things right where the fucking items are supposed to go. So I put them on the other side. Same fucking thing happens. Then she comes over to me and so then I grab all my shit and I go, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go to the human. I get online to go to the human and I'm making a big stink about it. The human at the register is fighting with the clerk over like a coupon. Let me tell you something right now. In the year of our Lord, 2021, if you're still fighting with someone with like a physical coupon cut out of a fucking newspaper or a magazine to save like $1 on Tropicana orange juice, get the fuck out of here. Get off the planet. Get off the planet. I don't care how much money you're trying to save. I don't care what your financial situation is. You're sitting here cutting out $1 coupon and you're gonna make anybody wait like 5 fucking full minutes because no, you're done. So then I grab all my shit. I go back to a new checkout, right? Same thing's happening on a different checkout now. So now I'm really losing my fucking mind because I'm like, maybe it is me because I've gone to 3 different places now and I can't get my shit from CVS. So this girl comes sauntering over again when it tells me I need the help. And she's like swiping it and looking at me like I'm a moron. She starts to do it and it doesn't work. And I'm like, fucking thank you. Fucking, I told you so. You were scuzz-eyeing me the whole time, looking down at me like I'm some sort of fucking idiot that I can't check out. And no, it's you and your dumbass technology that's clearly not there yet. It's mostly CVS's, but it happens at the grocery store too. Without fail. Every time one of the items is not being picked up by the weight scale. I don't know what to tell you. It's a light box. I'm buying a box of tissues. Buying a box of fucking Rice Krispie treats. It weighs like 0 ounces. Get your technology up. I can't stand waiting there. The whole point is that it's supposed to go fast. And I'm sitting there, I'm buzzing. I'm beep, beep, beep. I'm throwing them in. I got places to be. I got shit to do. Let's go. And you're telling me that you can't figure out whether or not I put the box of cereal down or not? Well, then if you can't figure that out, we can't have this technology. This is why we can't have nice things. Get me, what is the fucking point if you've got to have somebody standing there at the grocery store? I have one person on call at ShopRite. They stand there and they basically wait for something to fuck up because they know it's gonna. Because they know one of these items is not going to register on the sensor, and then they're going to have to come and they put in their employee code and they swipe a thing, and then you start over. Why don't you just get behind a fucking desk, behind a fucking counter, and check me out? Check out these people themselves rather than standing there waiting for the self-checkout technology to not work, which it always is not going to work. And then you factor that in with the people who can't figure it out, the human error, those people. You know whether you can do this or not. If the technology gets fucked up, I'm fine with it. But the people who are looking for the fucking barcode and they don't know what to do and how to do it, and then they're trying to check out before and then it asks me how many bags. You know what I do, actually, to be perfectly honest? I'm gonna let you in on a secret here. When I'm doing self-checkout and that sort of stuff starts happening, I steal every single time. Every single time. It's bothering me with like this, please put your item in the baggage area and it's fucking up and the person has to come over. Well, then you know what I do for the last couple items? I'm not scanning them because I know it's not going to work and I got to get the fuck out of here. So guess what? Now I'm stealing your Nutri-Grain bars. Now I'm swiping a fucking bag of bread. I'm going to take that extra ice cream pint because if I try to scan it, it's going to slow down the whole operation. Everybody behind me thinks that I'm an idiot who doesn't know how to work it. I'm sitting here, I want to turn around and be like, excuse me, it's not my fault, it's the fucking technology fault. I'm not an idiot, I promise you that. So I don't want to go through that, so I'm just going to steal. And then they tell me how many bags did I pick? Guess how many? Fucking 0. That's how many I'm telling you. 5 cents a bag. Fuck off. Because you know why? Because they're the brown paper bags that don't even have goddamn handles. What good use is that? I'm going to put all my shit in a brown bag that I then got to carry like a fucking football, that I'm carrying like a goddamn baby? Just bring back the plastic bags. The environment's fucked. The world is fucked. Me not double bagging my milk in a plastic bag is not going to save the fucking world. Okay? And don't try to give me the paper bags with the handles either, because those rip in 2 seconds. Somebody just took like a piece of tape and taped on little handles, and as soon as you pick that shit up, it rips. So the nerve, the gall, to try to charge me 5 cents for that after I've been here for an extra 10 goddamn minutes because your technology can't pick up the items in the baggage area? Fuck you guys. Figure it out. Until you figure it out, have a bunch of people checking me out, and we'll do this old school. We'll do this old fashioned. A human with some plastic ass bags. If you want to get the technology right, then we can do this. But until then, figure out a way for me to get the fuck out of your store faster. Otherwise, I'm stealing the Pop-Tarts. I'm stealing the milk. You got nobody to blame but your fucking selves. All right, Rosebud Baker's on the show now. Let's sit down with Rosebud. It's a deep conversation. It's a heavy one, to be honest. We talk a lot about the death of her sister, which is tough, and a lot about loss and the industry and life and how to get through tough times and addiction and therapy. I mean, there's a lot. It's a great conversation with a truly funny and very smart person with a very interesting background. Really one of a kind when you think about Rosebud. Or what's her grandfather? Secretary of State or something like that? Mm-hmm. Secretary of State with a heavily powerful and influential political family. And then she goes off to become the stand-up comic who's like the black sheep, and now is finally popping off and really succeeding. It's an awesome, awesome story to learn and watch. So let's talk to her. It's Rosebud Baker on the Kevin Clancy Show. It's brought to you by Roman. Now, Rosebud is married to Andy Haynes, another comic that we've had on the show before. Very funny guy. And he's always talking about how he's banging Rosebud and he's on his antidepressants, and so he's lasting forever and ever and ever and he can't come. Humble brag, all right? Way to brag, Andy. The rest of us guys out here, we're worried about a little something I like to call premature, a little pre-me jack. Nobody wants to be a pre-me e-jack out here. We're not all Andy Haynes, okay? We're not all the fucking marathon runners here. Most of us are Minutemen. So, shout out to Roman, which comes along with the FDA-approved, although no prescription necessary, Roman swipes, where you rub it on your dick and you can last that much longer in bed. It numbs you up, it desensitizes your dick so that you're not going to pop off. That means you can have some fun, you can do different positions, and you can have more foreplay and last longer and film the whole thing. You can start that porn channel you've been wanting to start. You can start that OnlyFans you've been looking to set up, because now sex is lasting longer than just 2 or 3 minutes. Somebody asked me the other day, it was actually a Taylor Swift fan. She said that I'm a Minuteman because that's my show, and then she said that All Too Well lasts longer than I do in bed. Well, first of all, yeah, that's just the 10-minute version. That's fucking a lot. That's lasting longer than like most people in bed. I say the perfect amount of sex is 13 minutes. Get some foreplay. I mean, foreplay you can do forever, and hours and hours and hours. And sex for 13 minutes, that's the sweet spot. Watch, do All Too Well, play one other song, and you're good to go. Roman can help you get there. That 13-minute mark, all courtesy of the Roman swipe. So go to getroman.com/Clancy. You can get your swipes for just $5. That's getroman.com/Clancy. Get your Roman swipes for $5 for better sex. It's Rosebud Baker on the Kevin Clancy Show. Let's talk to her.
Your girl did not potty train her. I just sort of let it happen.
So where do you have like the pads in the house?
No, I mean, she's good now. She's good in the house. But like when she gets out of the house, I'm always like watching her. I'm like, don't you fucking fuck this up.
Like in a place like this? Mm-hmm. Like you take her somewhere else but you're inside?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking she looks like she's about to pee.
She peed before she came in.
Yeah, but she's still gonna pee.
No, she won't. I promise. She won't.
No. I mean, it's not like, Feidelberg's probably peed on her.
Please don't pee. Please.
She's probably gonna smell Feidelberg's piss and go pee on that.
Oh, good. Okay. Feidelberg pisses in the office.
I mean, I'm sure Feidelberg, everywhere Feidelberg has ever been, he's pissed. So,
How do I look in here? Am I like decent, or do I?
I think you look fantastic.
Lip sweat, great.
Lip sweat's pretty gross. I didn't know that was going on.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
All right.
Saw you at UFC. You looked great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking UFC was the craziest.
What did you think?
I mean,
I kept actually looking up, and I saw you. I was like trying to make eye contact, but we didn't see each other. But I was thinking to myself, I think I would love to watch UFC with you to hear your commentary about it.
Dude, I was like, I kept saying to Bert, I was like, it's a shame that that you brought me to a race war.
Exactly things like that. That's what I wish.
You brought me to a fucking race war, and at one point they were like yelling USA. I was like, when does this turn into the N-word? Like,
well, that was because
turn into the N-word.
That's because that was anti-communism because there was a Chinese fighter. Thug Rose was fighting the Chinese chick. She got in trouble last time. That was their second fight. The first time, she said that she watched a bunch of like communism videos to hype herself up.
Oh,
and
really?
She was like, I was fighting against communism. People were like, they were very mad. They were like, not all Chinese people are communists.
Yeah.
But that was the USA chance. But there was a lot of
thing.
fuck Joe Biden. There was a lot of let's go Brandon. I mean, you're at a USC fight. UFC, you know, it's not gonna be.
Yeah, I was like, this is a fucking crazy, like. There were times when I was like, I felt bad for being there, and then there were other times where I was like, this is the most fun I've ever fucking had.
It's some true modern day Coliseum gladiator shit. Where it's like we are here watching people like almost fight to the death for sport, for fun.
I've been to UFC now, and I've been to WrestleMania, and I think of the two, I had more fun at WrestleMania, though.
Well, yeah, wrestling is, because it's supposed to be fun. They're designed to make you, those guys are like, we're going to win. We want to put on a show, but I want to win. Yeah. Even if it means we're going to like lay on the ground and I'm going to like grapple you for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Wrestling is, anybody who hates wrestling is uptight and assholes, and they've never been to it live. Because if you go to it live, especially if you get hooked up with good seats and shit, it's a spectacle.
Yeah, dude. I went.
It's like going to the circus.
It was Dan St. Germain's bachelor party, and I was
that's
there.
That's a great.
It was his bachelor party, and I was there. I thought that there were other women invited, and then I showed up, and I was like,
"You motherfucker!
I'm a man." And so we go.
You should just get a dick, Rosebud.
Honestly,
you really should.
I'm growing one just from being on Bert's bus. But I was like sitting there, and I was like, this could like heal America. Like,
yes, it's so it's just like, but yes, because you have to like obviously suspend disbelief for a little while and just have fun and like not take things seriously.
Yeah.
And like the people were like, it's fake. It's like, yeah, I fucking know.
Yeah.
So are all your favorite movies and
so
shit.
Your fucking Instagram.
Right. Like it's just and it's entertaining. Just fucking enjoy it.
Right.
Loosen up. But UFC is different because like. That I don't know if you guys were there yet. I don't think you were because it was like after, it was before 10 o'clock. Yeah, you weren't there. This dude hit him with like a flying knee.
Yeah.
And I watched his head like. Feidelberg described it as in The Little Mermaid when she comes out of the water and she flips her hair and the water. Like that was his sweat. It was like. It was such a specific reference, and I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Everybody knows what.
And it's spot on.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was when I was like. I felt a little uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm contributing to this. You know what I mean? I'm like, do it again.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit. Like
that guy's got like a family and shit, you know? Like, he got up, he was fine.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, it's awesome too. I mean, Candace Owens was there.
Was she?
Yeah, the main event, the big race war, when it was the big black guy versus the big white guy.
Yeah.
She's like, he's a big MAGA guy, so she's like Colby Covington.
Oh, she was there?
So she was she's hot.
Is she?
Yes. Yeah.
I guess she's not bad.
No, man, she was sexy. I was like, who is that? Feidelberg was like, I think it's a model. I was like, I think it's Candace Owens.
Was she on?
She was like the front row.
She was in the,
No, that was Halle Berry.
Yeah, Halle Berry, because I was like, there was one point I saw Halle Berry in the intro.
But the fact that you even just that you might have mixed those two up says it all. That's what I'm telling you, Candace Owens was so hot.
I know, or it says I'm racist. But
one or the other, yeah.
You had Halle Berry in the very intro, like when they were like facing off.
Yeah, why?
You know, and I was like, and then I was like, holy shit, Halle Berry looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, she's like timeless.
I was like, this is why people think that Hollywood drinks blood.
I was just gonna say that's Black Don't Crack mixed with I'm drinking baby blood.
Yeah.
Adrenochrome or whatever.
Right.
Get me on that, you know?
You know, I feel like if there's, I look at it, I go, is that the worst thing you can do to a kid?
Probably not.
Drink their blood?
I would say this. If you are just, like, people give blood all the time. Like, are we killing them? Do they kill them to drink the blood? Then I don't want to do that. Right. I don't want a baby to be killed to give me the blood. If there is already a dead baby and I can get some of their blood,
yeah.
I don't want it to go to waste.
I was raised in the Illuminati. Okay.
Yeah, you basically were, no joke.
Yes, they drink your blood, but they're nice about it.
Do they just like at night? Do they just like feed on you? Like
yeah.
Here you go, mom. Here you go.
It's like the Here Comes the Airplane game, but with a needle. That's it.
But with an IV.
You they just stick it in.
It is crazy that you're what's the title for your dad? He was my
granddad.
Staff or some shit?
My granddad was Secretary of State.
Secretary of State. That's like baller.
Yeah.
That's big time shit.
Yeah.
So you're the black sheep.
I was raised in Succession. You know, like Logan Roy is my granddad.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost like either Get Out or Succession, one of the two.
Yeah, it's more Succession. Like when I watched that, Mouse, do you want to come up here? Okay.
Hey!
There you go.
Meet Mouse.
This is Mouse the whore. Mouse the tiny whore. Yeah.
It's
Good
Rosebud
girl.
the tiny whore and Mouse
There
the
we
tiny
go.
whore.
Yeah, high
Let's
five.
go, girl.
Nothing. She just leaves.
Please.
Yeah, so it was really like that. Like it was like when I watched Succession, the power dynamics and the fucking mind games.
Really?
It's so close to the dynamics in my family. It's not even
because
funny.
of like you mean your dad? Because it was your grandfather, right?
It's my grandfather. So it's like
you're
it's
a couple
passed
removed.
down.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody has that like bloodlust for each other. Like we all have this kind of like constant like mean. It's like meanness, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I hear what you're saying.
It's that. We're joking around, but it's like it hurts. You know, like you're trying to devastate the other person. It's like it's real.
Yeah.
That show.
But it's weird because it's not like in that show, obviously, there's just like a family fortune and a title to be passed down. This is more like political power, right? Political
This is more like
positions.
Yeah, and it's just the dynamic of trying to get that person's attention when you are competing with like world politics. And like my dad and all of his brothers have that dynamic like hard. Like it's crazy.
So what did they end up doing? Like are they all in politics as well?
No, they're not.
So
They're not.
are they in like
I can't go into that, but like they're not in politics. And it's like they are they just have that kind of like dynamic where you would think that they're all in politics. You would think that they're
they
all
behave that way almost.
Right. Like I'm like, what are you guys competing for if it's not money? And it's like it really is the dad's attention. You know? It really is like the love of their dad.
Right.
And that's what I think Succession got right.
Definitely.
Is like it's never really
it's
about
not about the money. It's about like I want dad to pick me or like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with Roman. I always feel like Roman is kind of like really looking to just be like,
oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy that you even have, like, even being able to not go into it is, like, a weird thing for you. You know, it's like you just don't have a normal family life in that regard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you never have, but it's
like I'm just now learning to respect some of their privacy. Like,
yeah, they must have been like, God damn it. Like you blowing up right now, and we'll talk about how much you are in a second, but they must be like, fuck.
I mean,
like, we liked it better when you were just doing open mics.
I would not be surprised. They didn't even know. I mean, I was like, I kept it a
too.
secret. I was like hiding it like it was a fucking heroin addiction for a long time.
Doing comedy?
Doing comedy, yeah. And I don't like it when they, like, if they watch my comedy, I would so much rather they never watch it.
I'm that way, and I don't have any, weird power dynamics. I just would rather my family not. I like separation in church and state when it comes to like work and family.
Yeah.
Or people coming to shows.
Right.
And stuff. I don't like that. It's
I'm like,
working,
especially when they start to like be proud of you. It's like, oh fuck, because like you hated this.
Right.
Like you hated this years ago, and now all of a sudden.
Now you want in.
Exactly. I'm like, come on, you don't fucking like this.
So so you were hiding it, but when you came out, if you will, they were like, no, don't do this, or
no, it was like once they kind of caught on. Like I started at first, I would get like mouse stop. I would start getting these emails from my uncle and being like, how dare she write these jokes? Like emails that he would then CC my mother on.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you? I'm in my 30s. Like, why are you CCing my mom?
Right.
Like she's gonna do anything. You
also,
know?
It's like, I mean, it's just like, this is fucking true, man. Like, whatever you were saying, I'm sure was.
It was some fucking joke about
maybe
how.
Maybe you guys weren't assholes.
It was when I think I said that I had dedicated my vote to my grandmother who couldn't vote because she was always too drunk to drive to the polls, right? Which was like, I thought was a fun twist.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's like a classic, like, little misdirection joke, like, for my grandma who couldn't vote. Because
right. It was
trust me, Rosebud's gonna get way worse than that, bud. If you can't handle that, don't watch the special. You know what I mean?
It got way worse than that, but and then at that point they were like proud of me, but it just feels weird because I'm like, you don't have to like it, you don't even have to pay attention. We can pretend it's not happening.
Right. Just like if I had any other like normal job, that's like I wouldn't be telling you the ins and outs of that. We would just be, how's work? Good, okay, whatever. Done.
It kind of makes me feel like if you're gay right now, everybody's so supportive. And I'm like, is it kind of lame? You know, like if you're coming out to your parents now,
it's like
they like know all about the pronouns, and they're, you know what I mean? And they're probably like asking these questions about it that are kind of stupid, but also sort of informed.
Yep.
And it just gives you this like yucky feeling.
Yeah, well, it's like now coming out to your parents is just like, now you're just talking to your parents about your sex life.
Right.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
If I was ever just like, Mom, Dad, I fuck chicks.
Yeah. Right.
I like to fuck pussy. You know what I mean?
Here's the deal.
Like, that's really what you're doing.
Yeah.
And obviously it used to have more like, are you okay with this? We need to discuss what that means.
Right.
Now it's just like, we don't care. We don't care, you gay ball, whatever, dude. I
or
mean,
they're
obviously,
trying to prove that they're cool with it and they know the lingo, and you're like, ew.
The whole thing.
Like, no.
The whole thing is gross. Yeah.
I'd rather you send me to camp.
It's like, let's go to conversion therapy.
Right.
Yeah, like I could see a dad being like, oh, I read about this in like on a blog. I know what to say. I know what to do. It's like, just stop. Because you're like talking to your parents about anything's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So why would the most like intimate of issues ever go well?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like what it comes down to is with comedy. I'm just like, just don't watch it. Just like, if you see that I was on TV, like, just be glad that I was on TV. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to watch it. Just be like, hey, congrats on that.
Awesome, yeah.
And then leave it at
Well,
that.
if it's already been a little bit of an issue, I think it's about to get a lot worse. I feel like you're at like a tipping point, no?
I don't know, man.
You don't think so? I think from a viewer standpoint, it's very clear. I think if you follow Rosebud Baker and you've been watching, you know that something's happening right now.
It's like, it's a weird place to be in my career because it looks to my friends and people that have been following me, it looks like almost bigger than it is, you know? But like, I'm still showing up at clubs and like, just now, some people in the audience know who I am. But it's not like I'm fucking selling out every show, and the road is still a very sad place to be.
Yeah, I can see that. I was talking to, I think, Bert about it just the other day. Like, he's beyond it, but the point where, like, if you're in your hometown city or big spots, maybe you can sell out like theaters, or even I think like Sebastian can sell out like arenas in Chicago.
Right.
But he still needs to do like clubs in Des Moines or whatever.
Right.
Where it's like sometimes you're a god and sometimes you're like a nobody because it's just, that's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a weird spot to be in where it's like,
it's very weird.
This was sold out in New York. Fuck you guys.
Right,
you know what
like,
I mean?
I want to be like, I was on Bert's bus last week,
right.
But it's like that.
But I mean, Whiskey Fist has like 365,000 views.
Yeah.
You get scooped up by Bert to open for his tour in this leg. You're on Mark Maron. Mm-hmm. You're on Wendy Williams with Whitney.
Yeah.
There was something else too. I mean, you've been doing like, you know, even just since I have met you in like a couple years.
Yeah.
You know, the first year I knew you was very different than like the second year I knew you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just finally like happened. You're on that list of people. There's a handful of comics that I've met through Barstool that I'm like, from the minute I met them, I was like, they are funnier than their fame and money is right now. Mm-hmm. And like it will just like even out.
I hope so.
Or take over. And if not, then like something went wrong because you're better than, you know, people had known. And I feel like now people they're catching on.
I appreciate that. Yeah. It feels like you know what it feels like? It's like, I think Bert was talking about how they used to torture soldiers by like making them like climb up a mountain, right? And they would tell them you're done when you get to the top, but then they'd get to the top and they'd see how many mountains they had left. And they'd be like, actually, you have to be at the top of that mountain at the like 5 mountains away. Mm-hmm. And so it's this weird point where you're like, I actually have so much further to go and I'm exhausted already.
Right.
And all I see are like the mountains that are ahead of me. And I'm just like, fuck.
But
dude.
Theoretically, shouldn't those mountains be like smaller and easier than the first mountain?
No.
You don't think so?
No. This was the hardest. Well, I don't know.
Because the first one is like, you're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
You're grinding midnight open mics. Now it's like you said, some people in the crowd know you. And eventually, so that next mountain is like a little bit easier because some people know you. And the next mountain, a lot of people know you.
Yeah.
I could see it being harder because it means like you've got to try to take on theaters and then, God willing, arenas. But
this was the most fun one to climb because I didn't even know I was like, it was all for
climbing.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all like, I love comedy. I'm just going to do comedy.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, I've basically jumped out of a plane and I'm just going to land on my fucking face, you know? But But luckily I've gotten to this point, which is not nowhere, right? It's a good place to be. But all I'm seeing are like the fucking, like, I'm just like, God damn, and I'm so tired.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And the work is like so nonstop that like my career takes up so much of my fucking mind that I could be fucking my husband, and if he comes in me too quick, I'm like, don't fuck up my career. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's like that's what's going on.
Right.
It's so fucked up, and I hate being.
You still fuck Andy?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're still.
That's crazy.
We're still banging. We're still banging it out. But it's like. He'll be like, oh, that sucks, you know, that you feel that way. I'm like, yeah, you think it sucks. I live in my body. Like, it sucks to be here. I live here. You know what I mean?
I think there's I don't know, for me, I always thought, like, I'm just happy to not have a shitty cube job.
Yeah.
And that ultimately will always be, like, my thing, that I'm just happy I got out of that.
Yeah.
But as that is more and more in the rear view, that becomes less and less of like my focus, you know? So like I used to just think, whatever, man, everything else is gravy.
Yeah.
But now that there's like some opportunities, it's like, okay, we established that. And now because of some good breaks and some hard work and some money and this and that, now there's like some opportunities. And so now it becomes a different mindset where it's like, like you said, you're just having fun. You love comedy. You're just doing it because, you know, you like it. Now it's like, well, I have a chance, if I play my cards right and do this right, that I could be doing my own tour, my own arenas, my own, you know? And that's a very different thing than just like, I just want to tell jokes and just try to make some, I just want to be able to pay my rent money with joke money, you know?
Yeah.
That's very different than what the next mountain is ahead of you.
Yeah, and the thing about it is comedy is like, it's such a fucking business now. Yeah. Like I've learned so much just from being on the road with comics that are like massively fucking successful. And just hearing them talk about like the challenge of selling tickets and like selling out and the way that they fucking grind, like just it's all day, every fucking day.
Who like you're on tour with Bert now?
Bert, Whitney, Fortune.
Those are big ones, yeah.
I've been on the road with Schumer. I've been on the road with Che. Che is like Che's a different thing. But like
how so?
Well, he's just like
he seems awesome to me. Would
he's
he ever
just
come in a
chill.
place like this? I could see him be like, fuck that.
He fucking hates, he doesn't do press or like you know what I mean? He's
I would love to talk to him. He seems awesome.
Yeah, he's great. He's probably my favorite person, and he would hate to hear that.
That's the white guilt.
No, he's truly my favorite person in the world. And, you know, that's like...
But all those people telling you, like, you know, their tricks of the trade or what they've gone through.
Yeah, and just seeing them fucking... how hard they work. Like, I think Che's the only one that doesn't make it look hard, you know? But I know that he's like working just nonstop.
Right.
And there's a part of you that looks at that and goes like, if that's what I'm headed for, I'm scared. You know, like I'm a little scared.
You know what? I'm over. I used to always put out this disclaimer anytime I was complaining or venting or just talking about how difficult it is. And I would always be like, I know I'm not digging ditches. I know I'm not, you know, it's not brain surgery. I know that things could be worse. Things could be harder. But it's also like, no, like, fuck that. There's something actually much more difficult about this. It's like, it's not manual labor and it's not dangerous or anything. Certain jobs are worse in that regard. But in terms of like how much it consumes you, how much your brain, you know, is one track, and when you don't succeed, it kills you, and the haters and the embarrassment and all of that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, you guys do what everyone's like main fear in life is, like public speaking and people not laughing at, you know what I mean? So it's like, no, this is fucking a grind, man.
I don't know if it's everybody's fear, but it's definitely like, here's the thing. There's
a reason why it's like a fantasy football punishment, Rosebud.
If somebody's saying to me, yeah, you're not digging ditches, you're not doing it. I'm like, yeah, well, I never said I was gonna do that.
I never compared it to that. I never.
Like, if that's just a fucking asshole being like, what you're saying is not valid or not whatever.
And that's an asshole who is digging ditches.
Yeah, and I'm also like, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
It's like the old.
I don't have to fucking talk to you. Like, I'm not talking to you about this. I'm not going over to you in the middle of your fucking work day and complaining
and be
about
like, it's not that hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
it's the old, like, you know, there are children starving in Africa. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that like
I've never starved. I've never starved.
Right. That's not my benchmark, man. Right. I'm sorry. I do eat. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean that nothing else is hard in the world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like I always, even when I was like doing open mics, I remember like seeing people kind of jump to the next level and then being upset and not feeling like they could talk about it. And I was like, dude, just because your life is better doesn't mean it's not life. Like life, you're gonna find shit to fucking complain about.
Right.
I'm not saying that's all you do.
Right.
I mean, truly, when I think about where I'm at in my life right now, I think about this is everything that I fucking wanted, right? Like it's not, and there's so much more that I want than just this.
But if you told yourself 10 years ago that you'd be here, that version of you would be like, cool, right? Like, this is what I want. I'm good. Yeah.
If you told me 10 years ago that this is what I'd be doing, I'd be like, cool, I'm done.
Yeah, like I've made it to the top as far as I could.
And now
but you realize that there's way more.
Yeah.
But I think I say this like every episode, so I'm sure people who listen to me every day are like, we know, dude. But I think like the great challenge in life is trying to enjoy that.
Yeah.
And recognize that like you would have been so satisfied with this.
Yeah.
And you're not even taking the time to enjoy it because you want more, and that's good to be ambitious, but also like stop and smell the roses a little bit. Because
I think I do enjoy it though. I'm not like, I don't feel like I struggle with enjoying it, you know? I think I like when I'm doing the shit that I'm getting to do, I feel like incredibly lucky, you know?
Do you, when you mentioned like when you're hanging out and somebody makes it, is there awkwardness amongst like the comics or the group, the friend group, when somebody makes it and you don't, or you think you're better than someone, or they got lucky or whatever?
Yeah.
And then is it awkward when you're on the other side of it, like, oh shit, I gotta hang out with, so and so, and they're still struggling and I'm not? And it's so weird. Like I'm at a weird point where the friends that I have, the friends that I really have are happy for me. And the ones that are not, it's so funny that they're mad because I'm like, you don't really understand how, like, this isn't necessarily better. Like, I'm making more money, so that makes things a lot easier. Sure.
But I'm not, I'm still in this in-between place. I'm like in this in-between place.
Right.
So it does feel a little bit like a tipping point to like the next level. And I'm psyched and I can't wait. And I am like, there's something really exciting about being at this place. But I'm also really lonely. Like it's very lonely. I don't get to like see my husband as much as I want to. I don't get to, he's on the road when I'm back. I'm on the road when he's back.
Right.
We just had
even just like scheduling this as simple as that. Like a year ago, it would have been like, I can come in whenever, Yeah. And it was like a couple times you were on the road. I had to go to Bert. I got to do when, and it was just like, times are changing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And I mean, like I had to take my dog to my fucking mom's place because I was taking both dogs to boarding and like having to put them in boarding every weekend. And I was like, this is awful. So I had to take him up to my mom's place. And now I can travel with Mouse because I don't want to fucking unload, but it just feels like shit to have to do that.
It's like a mo money, mo problem sort of thing. Most people, it doesn't just apply to like being a bajillionaire. It's like there are a new set of things to worry about, new set of responsibilities, new sets of things that you don't, always see coming.
It's so funny. Like, I sound like I'm complaining because I'm not. I really am not. Like I'm so grateful to have these problems. I'm not like, these are fucking luxury problems. These are the problems that I fucking prayed to have.
Yes.
And,
But you still got to overcome them and do them, right?
Yeah, and sometimes comics are shitty, man. I mean, they're not like, we're not good people.
No, I mean, inherently bad people, inherently cutthroat and competitive, and always everybody's a little bit vain because what you're doing is like, look at me, I'm awesome, I'm funny. So yeah, it's not the healthiest of industries.
Yeah.
By any means.
Yeah.
You guys are just whores, basically.
Essentially, like worse paid. You know what I mean? Worse paid
until you're not.
And much lazier. Like way lazier.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
There was like
a lot uglier.
I did a gig before the pandemic that was like, that was when I first realized I was like, this is how I know there's money in this. You know what I mean? It was like a mind-opening thing. I went to go open for this. I didn't go open for him. I went to roast this billionaire, this fucking billionaire in Orange County. And he had like...
Famous or just rich?
Just rich.
Nobody
just fucking sick rich. Like fucking roll around in pig shit rich. Like dirty rich. Yeah. And he paid us $20,000 to roast him. And I did like 10 minutes of jokes.
Oh my God.
And I fucking walked off and I was like, and I looked at like what everybody was paid and how each one of us were paid that much. And I go,
holy shit.
I got to stop thinking of $20,000 as like a lot of money.
It is funny to shift. You have to make that change because otherwise you're not going to make as much as you possibly can. Because if you're like, oh my God, thank you, $20,000, it's like, well, that could have been like 100 if you change your mindset on that.
Yeah.
How is that something like a corporate thing like that? Is that like a duffel bag of cash or is that like a check or is that a direct deposit? How does that literally get to your account? Through your agent, I guess?
Yeah, basically. Basically,
right.
yeah.
Like an invoice to them, they're the ones who pay. Yeah,
right.
Interesting.
And I remember looking at it and being like, whoa, like if that's what everyone got paid, then that's like not a lot of money. You know?
Right.
And it was the first time that my brain went like, this is nothing. And it wasn't nothing to me. It was nothing to him.
Right.
And I was like, if I want to make a shitload of money, then I got to stop thinking about this as like
a lot. Yeah.
A lot.
I would do those things all the time. I know you guys, it sounds like nobody likes doing the corporate things and those like private events. I would do those all the time.
I would
I'd
too,
like,
if I could get hired for them, but I'm not the comic that they hire for that shit.
Not yet.
I got hired to roast a billionaire on like crimes he'd committed against humanity.
Now that you'd be good at.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was like a once in a lifetime thing for me because as far as corporate gigs go, it was the least corporate gig you could do.
Were you going in? Was he like laughing or was it like?
He was laughing. He fucking hit on me in front of my husband. I remember.
Ooh,
we weren't married at the time.
Indecent proposal, right?
We weren't married at the time. I walk up. I went to go shake his hand and I go, this is my husband, Andy. And Andy goes, hey, nice to meet you. And he goes, or we weren't married yet. I go, this is my boyfriend, Andy. And he goes, nice to meet you. And then the guy goes, nice to meet you. Do you want to get a hotel room?
No.
And I was like
right in front of him.
I was like, I think Andy's going to have a problem with that. Like, it was so fucking funny to me that he had.
That's that billionaire shit, though. Like, like that guy in his mind was probably like, that's not going to be a problem. Like, I will be able to get around this hurdle, no problem.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, he had just shaken the hand of the man who was actively fucking me.
Oh, tough.
I was like, what?
What would the number be for an indecent proposal situation for you and for Andy?
I mean, Andy would probably sell me off for a lot less.
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably be like, really, that's the number you're gonna go with? Cool.
What's the dowry here?
Yeah.
Like, give me an oxen and a cow. We're good to go.
I would never, though. I can't.
Everyone's got a number, Rosebud.
But here's the thing. I do comedy. Like, if I can do comedy for stupid money, why would I take my clothes off?
Well, I mean, billionaire money is like, you get some big money. Like, if a billionaire wanted to have sex with you and he was like, I'll give you $10 million to do this, you're doing it.
$10 million is not a lot of money. Let me tell you
Times are good for Rosebud.
$10 million is, somebody put it to me this way. If you were to make $1 a minute, how long do you think it would take for you to make $1 million?
$1 a minute?
Yeah.
What did we do the other day? We did seconds was like 11 days. So minutes like 60 times that. So like, what's that, a few months? What is it? I don't know.
I think it's like...
You don't know the answer?
No, I'm forgetting now. It's 3 months.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it was around 3 months.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 13 days.
No, it's not. It's because we did...
Can we look it up?
We did $1. We did counting to $1 million takes... like just by seconds takes like 11 days.
Okay,
so that would be if you were making $1 a second.
Yeah, so if you're making $1 a second, it takes 11 days to make $1 billion. If you're making $1 a second, how many seconds is a billion? I mean, how many seconds is? If you're fuck.
I I see this really stuck
I wish
with
I wasn't
you here.
retarded.
Yeah,
it would make this story very.
You're broken retarded.
But I think it makes like 3. I think the difference is like
huge, right?
Months.
Is what you're trying to say? Yeah.
Like the billions, to make $1 billion, if you're making $1 a second, it takes months. It takes 11 days to make $1 million.
Yeah, so it's like no big deal, right?
You go, whoa, like the difference.
But also, I understand what you're saying, but also just like inherently $10 million is a lot of money. You'd be set for life. You'd never have to worry about anything again if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I get from like a business point of view and like my time is money and my value and my worth.
I really fucking nailed that.
Nailed it. Like the people at home are like, wow, that was some Gary Vee shit.
Yeah, they're
just like, I'm quitting my job tomorrow because Rosebud said 1 million minutes is a weekday.
I'm like, can you tell that I was taught math in a trailer behind my school? Can anyone tell?
Yo, that is funny.
They were like, she's actually clinically stupid and we don't want to draw attention to it, so let's put her in a trailer behind all the other students. We'll just homeschool her at school.
So good.
And fucking.
Do you know how long? You just put it back on me like, well, how much is $1 billion? I don't know. This is your fucking example, dude.
I was just
This is your goddamn story.
I was just told this at the end of the fucking weekend with Bert. I don't fucking remember it. And also, I am like retarded. I'm just like, when it comes to numbers, I can't do them.
Oh, fuck. It's good.
Anyway.
But it is good to make that shift in your mindset because I think that needs to. It's hard. I think. I mean, I know it's hard for me to even like acknowledge sometimes like where we're at and what might be possible.
Yeah.
And money and shit. Like for me, every time I've gotten more money, my bills and my expenses in life have always grown faster than my money has grown.
Yeah.
So I stay struggling. I'm not struggling, but I'm always like, it's not just like, easy right now.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm like paying people, like the amount of, I'm finally having to like get some fucking help, and the money that I'm paying to people is like more than, like the costs are offsetting the amount of money that I'm making, so I'm still at the same place.
That's what I mean. It's like maybe things are bigger or whatever, but like it's just my add a zero here, but add a zero on my expenses, so like it's all the fucking same. You know what I mean? So, but to be like, to recognize, I think especially people are self-deprecating. I have imposter syndrome. I make fun of myself. I'm always put myself down. You got to be like, stop doing that and like go for, like the next level because it's actually kind of, it's there. You know what I mean? That's a hard thing to almost like accept because I think inherently it's like if you don't ever like accept that challenge, it's not like I failed if I didn't do it. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's also like, it's like while you're saying this shit, it's so like, yeah, the special's at 365K views, which is like, that's not a bad number. It's not bad. But I look at it and I go like, Shane Gillis is at like fucking millions. And I go, what? Who the fuck am I talking? He's not fucking talking like this. You know what I mean? He's not on here going like, yeah, things are fucking, and I'm featuring. I'm like, so things, I feel like things look better than they are. Again, I'm like, I feel like things really look better than they are.
Shane's, a big dumb retard too. It's like he's not going to sit here and talk like that because he's not that. I feel like a lot of people are going through this same process.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're more inclined to talk about it or not, but I think I'm seeing all of that happen now because we have met all you guys and had you all on and seeing like you and Shane are good examples of like where you were when we first were talking and now very, very different, you know? So, but I think it's awesome. I watch you guys like I watch sports almost, like watching a person get drafted and who had a good rookie year, who had a bad one, who's the veterans, who's, you know what I mean?
That's so funny that you say that because I feel like you're not the only one that does it.
Yeah.
I feel like you are like, I feel like comedy's becoming, it's way more of a business than it fucking ever was before.
It's having I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. It's having like a moment, right? Where like it started with Netflix specials. Now everyone knows. They're like, oh, everyone gets a Netflix special. It's like a little bit saturated, but I feel like it's become like a major form of entertainment where it's like, everybody watches specials, everybody watches podcasts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I feel like, I don't know, maybe it was like the Eddie Murphy type era and then it kind of like went down and now it's back up again.
Right.
But I'm sure that brings with it a lot of business and agents and, Hollywood and backstabbing, all that kind of shit that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, we just all started out like telling jokes and living on each other's couches.
Yeah, and it was like, and also like we're still just a bunch of fucking losers. Like I'm like,
that's the difference with comedy. I feel like when you're a singer or an actor, it's like you're this beautiful girl or this talented guy that like people know you're gonna make it because you have, you know. Where this is like, I don't know, we're all dirt balls and some of us get a break and some of us don't, and you know, there's no anointed one or whatever. So that's what's funny is inside you guys are all scumbags.
Yeah. I'm like, it's weird to be. I don't know, man. I've been trying to write my new hour, and
it's crazy also how quick it's gotta be.
I mean, I don't feel that. I'm not like, there's nobody's like, where's your next hour? You know, Netflix isn't fucking knocking down my door. Like, I'm in a weird place because my shit lives better on the internet, I think, than it does on like a commercial.
Like a special on a streaming service?
I could see it somewhere else, but I have this kind of like, I'm a little more edgy than what.
I agree with that. I think that the internet is, I think that some people need to accept that.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to know that and embrace it rather than trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
But here's the problem, is that the internet is still, I mean, when you talk about like who's watching YouTube, it is mostly dudes. It's mostly men.
Okay.
So and I feel like they're just not as inclined to watch my shit. You know, like it's not that they're not like, I'm not saying they're fucking sexist. I'm not saying I'm like the victim of something. I'm just saying like, if I'm a dude and I see a woman talking, I'm not gonna immediately relate.
True.
You know what I mean? I'm not immediately going to be like, oh, she's going to have something to say that I relate to.
Right.
You know?
It's just like I mean, that's just like human nature.
Subconscious shit.
But I also think like, what do you think, was there like a moment that changed things for you? Do you have a set, an event, a joke, an appearance, something that really like changed things for you?
Yeah, I mean, after I put out the special, when I first went on the road.
Whiskey Fist.
Yeah.
See, I think something happened earlier for you.
Oh yeah?
Because specifically for me, I think that little incident you had with the heckler in Zanies in Chicago was what I saw.
Oh yeah?
And that's why I followed you. And Feidelberg was in the crowd that night and like called me and was like, "Yo, this crazy shit happened at the club tonight."
Yeah.
And not that was like this big like fame-changing moment for you, but I think just like little things like that along the way that you don't even realize that like, you know, I noticed, and then you come on here, and then there's probably a bunch of people who noticed and started following you there, and like just little things along the way I think can change it. Where there was nothing being like, oh, well, that was funny, but like she's a girl, so I'm not gonna relate. But I do get what you mean on a big scale.
Yeah.
To have that moment, right?
Right. But it's like they see it and they go, oh, she just doesn't. I don't know. I'm like, I'm still kind of figuring it out. Like maybe, can you please fuck off? Thank you. I love you. There's still things that I'm figuring out where I'm like, maybe they're into it and maybe they just, maybe it's just Comedy Central's YouTube is like a little oversaturated now and maybe like they're not seeing it because of that. To me, I look at the numbers for my special and I'm like disappointed. Like I'm like, that's not where I wanted to be.
Because of total numbers or demographics and splits and all that, or all of it?
Just, I haven't even looked at the demographics. I'm just like, I don't even look.
You're being pretty hard on yourself.
And I go, I'm not saying it's nothing. I'm just looking at it and I'm going, fuck. Like I want to get to a million.
Did you have a number in a million?
I want to get to a million.
But I think you will.
You know?
I think you will.
Eventually.
Yeah, I mean, you want it to be like a million quickly while it's still, you don't want to like trickle your way to it.
I mean, don't forget I'm a fucking drug addict and an alcoholic. I'm like, it has to happen today.
Right now.
Right now. This second.
Right.
You know, all of it is like immediate. And if it's not fucking overnight, it's fuck. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I've been working so fucking hard.
Right. But it's also like your
so
first
entitled.
One.
Like
it is. But it's also an ambition thing and like a high standards for yourself and all that shit. But if you think about it as like your first one does 400,000 or 500,000 in the first 60 days or whatever the fuck.
And that's
the next one does 750, and then you know what I mean? Like that's how this shit grows.
And that's the moment. I think for me, that was the moment where I went, oh, okay, so because I went on the road after the special came out, and it was the first time that I got on stage and people, I could tell they knew me.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were people in the crowd. It wasn't the whole crowd, but there were people in the crowd that knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit, people are seeing me.
And that changes everything, I'd imagine, because now it's like
changes everything.
You can make some jokes that are inside jokes or references that
Right.
like they're gonna get because they know you from that's
and if
everything.
they've heard you say that shit, you can say whatever else you got that you couldn't say before because
that's so amazing.
they didn't trust you or you had to get them on your side first.
Yeah,
And like,
yep.
you know, and I still had to do that because it wasn't the whole crowd, but it was like having that group of people that knew who I was and that fucking came out. That was like, okay, I'm starting to move the needle. I'm not fucking selling out shows yet, but I'm moving tickets. And I'm like, this is fucking great.
Right.
And now we're starting to put a tour together. And now things are like...
Like, that needle's moving, I think, more than you're giving yourself credit for. But no matter. Like, that needle is moving.
Yeah,
and it's going to continue moving.
Yeah.
Unless you fuck it up royally.
Unless I want to relapse, you know?
How, I mean, is that a struggle, or are you like just comfortable with your life at this point?
Yeah, I've been sober for so fucking long.
Yeah, it's just like your life as is.
I won't say it's not a struggle. I won't say that like, you know, when I'm on the road and I fucking crush, if there's like a night where I fucking crush, it's like sometimes I'm like, it would really be nice to, or I get scared.
That's interesting that so when you do have a good night, that's when you fear relapsing as opposed to a bad night. Like if you bomb, you're like, I want to drown my sorrows. It's more like if I kill, I want to like celebrate it.
Yeah, that's the struggle.
So you're,
it's not like
a glass half full drunk.
Yeah. It's
That's
like
good.
It's because I can deal with chaos. Like I can deal with fucking depression and chaos. I kind of thrive in that
there,
space.
yeah.
But when it comes to things going good, that's when like the addict part of me is like, burn it all down. Like there's a part of me that's
Why
just
do you
like,
think that is? You think that's some like deep psychological shit, like self-sabotage or whatever? Like if things are going good and I just want to...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, maybe it's just like, it's like if you have a problem, there's steps you can take to solve it. There's like actionable things that you can do to make it better. And so I like having that, just like having that kind of like, this is what you got to do to make things better. When things are good, people are like, yeah, you just relax and enjoy it. And I'm like, well, how the fuck do I do that?
Dude, I can't do that at all. I can't do that at all.
Yeah.
I can't relax at all.
I mean, people...
I used to be the king of doing nothing and just kind of chilling, and I am... Now if I'm not just like, what's next? Go, schedule something, work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't.
I think there's a little bit of that going on with me right now, because like... Sorry, I had to burp.
I actually have to burp right now, too.
So, let's take a moment.
Yeah.
Just a moment. So, things are good, you know. I'm married to the love of my life. I fucking love Andy. He makes me laugh. We get along. We support each other. I'm doing comedy every weekend. I'm making more money than I was. I'm working with the people I want to work with. My life's great. And so part of me is like, what the fuck do I write about?
Right.
You know, like, what do I say next?
Right.
And
because I think most people with our sense of humor doesn't find that as funny or intriguing as like the dark and gritty and grimy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, here's a joke about my husband that I love.
Right.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people are like, you know, I never really thought, oh yeah, when I get the things I want, I'm going to be happy. I never really have that. That's never like, I know who I am enough to know that if I get everything I fucking want, I'm still going to be a miserable bitch. Yeah. Like I'm still going to be like, this isn't, you know, like, even if I'm happy, even if I'm like, I don't know how to deal with my own happiness. Like that's that shit. So,
that mentality of like, it's just like a harsher mentality, if you will.
It's a very East Coast mentality.
Yeah.
And I was raised on the East Coast, and it's like,
I get that.
We're all angry for no fucking reason.
Yeah, people tell me, they're like, you know, you like get out the same energy, you get back the same energy you put out, and like you're negative, so you attract negativity. And it's like, I'm negative, but like
really, do we really think that fucking Jeff Bezos is putting out just nothing but positive energy?
Fuck that. And I also feel like my negative energy is like my takes on the internet, my jokes on a podcast, my tweets about a topic. When I read like a news story, my first inclination is to be like, fuck that, or fuck you. Yeah. And it's not like I'm losing sleep at night over that. It's just like, that's just how I joke, that's how I talk. And then in my regular life, I'm like a pretty normal fucking person, you know what I mean? Just different than the person who's all like positive and rise and grind bullshit. It's like you're overly positive, I'm overly negative, but it doesn't like actually determine anything. I don't really think.
Yeah, and there's fucking room for us both, okay? It's like nobody has to be on your level. Like nobody has to see things the way you fucking see them.
I'd rather be overly skeptical, overly cynical, overly bitter and jaded. Because to me, it's like, and I have higher standards and then if something does meet it or exceed it, whether it's a piece of entertainment or a friendship or a relationship, it's like, then I know, like the people who love everything, I'm just like, well, I can't even trust like anything you say. You know what I mean? Because everything's good. Everything's amazing, you know?
Yeah,
it's like, come on, be real.
Yeah, I think that my dog's staring at me like.
She's thinking about something.
Yeah,
she was just looking at me too. Like,
she's literally like, what are you guys talking about?
Because I also think that if you've gone through some shit, like I think the overly positive people are either lying or they haven't like gone through some shit yet.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, you've gone through the worst of the worst with your family at points where it's like.
Well, not the worst. I mean, my sister died, but she died in a fucking hot tub. You know what I mean?
And that technically could get worse, I suppose.
It's not the worst place, you know? It's not the worst place to go. Hot tub in a private residence in the suburbs. It wasn't a fucking drive-by.
God, I hate you.
You know?
I hate you so much. I hate you for making good jokes about that. Because it just makes it very difficult as a consumer to be a good person.
I mean, there's worse places to go. But I feel
damn it.
I try to stay I don't know. I just try to like think of things realistically, you know?
Yeah.
And I try to maintain that mentality because I think it's like what makes me funny. And also I've been around enough like rich people now where I'm like, oh wow, you don't know what reality is. Like
I mean, a lot of the rich people I know are not happy. You know, they don't have that level of like, I made it and it was all worth it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I think, you know, people talk about how, like, if you were raised, like, you know, like, people online, they'll be like, oh, weren't you raised, like, you're a fucking rich kid or whatever. Like, that makes me less knowledgeable about shit or, less, you know, whatever. And there's shit that I definitely don't understand just from being a rich kid. Mm-hmm. But I also look at it and I go, yeah, but I know something that people don't know, which is that if you are rich, you aren't happy. Yes, like that's what I fixes it.
Get because to me there are problems, right? And people think of it as like poor people problems are down here, and rich people problems are up here. And on some level that's true because we're talking about like shelter and food and shit that's like basic to live, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you have a set of problems that I don't know about, and I have a set of problems that you don't know about.
Right.
And we can play like which is more dire in the fucking moment right here, and I understand. That's why less fortunate people do have it worse. But it's all about which, you know, there's an entire set of shit I got to get through that you don't know about either. And I guarantee if, you know, you live that life, you would understand, oh, this part sucks too. It's like, I might be doing it in a nice house.
You'd still pick those problems.
Sure.
You'd still be like, I'll take those problems.
Yes.
But like.
Absolutely. But I think it's like you think, oh, if I could get there, I'd be happy about everything. And it's like, no, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I know you can't even understand why.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you that, you know, you would realize it's a struggle because of this. And there's problems like that. And yes, you know, the dick measuring who has the worst problems, they're going to win that. But it doesn't mean that, you know, there's not bad shit that comes with it.
Yeah, and it's also like...
There's a reason why rich people fucking kill themselves. There's a reason why rich people are addicts and in therapy and, you know, all that. It's like, if it was just gravy, then you'd never hear things like that at all.
Right.
You know?
Like Kate Spade, she killed herself. I mean, she did it with a scarf. Like a silk
scarf. That's the perfect, like, you know, look at this.
She still fucking killed herself.
Yes.
Like... You know, there's like, I I just kind of like, there's this weird thing that I think doesn't really exist between people, in real life, where we pretend like, on the internet, we pretend like we can't understand another person's perspective.
Sure.
Because we're so ready to fucking fight. But I think that in person, like, you can really begin to understand where somebody else comes from just from listening. And there's just...
Yeah, but you don't do any listening on the internet.
Yeah.
That's the inherent problem.
Yeah.
And that's why it's ruining the world.
Right.
Like, absolutely ruining the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the minute you know somebody personally, you're like, oh, I get it. If you have an ounce of empathy, you know, you could see someone and be like, oh, I understand. I met that person there. It's kind of nice.
Right. I think about it like I was forced into therapy after my sister died, right? And
how old were you?
I was 17, or was I 18? I don't know. I 17 or 18.
4 of you, right?
Yeah.
Where are you, oldest, youngest? Like,
so 5 of us total.
5, jeez.
4 living. 1 fell down. And then, so 4 little piggies. I'm the oldest. My sister Hallie,
all right, so that's
Mary
the
Stewart,
oldest too,
and Jackie.
That's tough.
Yeah, so I'm the oldest.
That's an added burden of being like the oldest when something like that happens.
It was weird because, I was in Boston this weekend, and I was like right around the corner from my college, and I was like, holy shit, like, I barely remember being here, but I remember it being like right after she died, and just like being at college where people are like so excited to like be away from their families for the first time, and me just like
total opposite,
feeling like so much guilt because like my parents had gotten separated, and then my sister died at a graduation party for my high school graduation. So like I've talked to my therapist about it multiple times. There's so much therapy that I've been through where it's like, it's not my fault, but like,
the guilt, yeah.
But there's this part of me that's like, yeah, but she wouldn't have been there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I was away at college, my parents divorced, my sister's dead, and I'm just like, I'm supposed to like party. Like it was like this weird fucking
it's like the last
time.
thing on your mind.
No, it was the first thing on my mind. Because I was like, let me just focus on partying and let me just put this away.
Interesting.
And pretend like this didn't fucking happen. Because that's what my brain just did.
Got it.
It just like adapted to the environment I was in. And also really didn't want to fucking think about what had happened right before I left. So I was like, I was just really trying to like bury that. And ever since then, especially since getting sober, kind of my whole act and everything about me is like, I don't want to bury anything from myself. Like I want everything to be out there. Like whatever it is
on
that
the surface,
feels like shit, open it up, let people know about it. Like, cause that ruled my fucking life. Like the desire to bury my own feelings fucking ruined my life for, years. So yeah, I try to be open about shit.
Living like secret-free, open book, like no skeletons is, I think, like the healthiest thing anybody can do. And it's kind of unrealistic in a lot of situations.
Yeah, I still have fucking secrets.
Sure.
There's a guy buried in my closet, but it's fine.
There's literal skeletons.
Yeah.
But it's like, kind of unrealistic or immature, or it's not possible. But I think when you have shit that eats at you, and you don't just be like, rah, like here it is.
Yeah.
It will eventually.
Right.
No matter big or small, rich or poor, whatever.
Yeah.
It will. Like I don't think we're like programmed to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think especially being sober, I have to be really open about shit, because if I'm not,
like dulling it or numbing it or hiding it, really. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Even this conversation is like, where's my vape? You know what I mean? I'm like, how do I?
There it is. Got it. We got it.
I was like, like, it's like there's this part of me that's always kind of trying to like avoid my feelings, and I really try to fight against it as much as possible.
Crazy. It's a weird thing to like be, because you like as a comic, you're observant and you're tuned in and you're noticing things, but that also, I would imagine, like, when you do that to yourself or you have that same, you apply that to your life, it's like, it's just hyper aware of everything, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how good we are as human beings. Like, our minds are actually set up to hide things from ourselves that we find unpleasant. So it is impossible, just because of the way the subconscious works, to constantly be aware and alert. But I go to therapy and I fucking meditate and I go to fucking meetings and shit. Like, I do the stuff that I have to do to just exist in the world.
It sucks.
Yeah.
That just sounds like, it's like just all the shit that I should be doing and I'm not doing enough of it. It's like,
it's exhausting.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's been years and I still am like, how the fuck do I still have to do this shit?
I know, right. It just never stops.
Yeah, and I mean, I think at the end of the day, you just got to be like, all right, well, I'm doing as much as I can. There's other comics that I know that are sober that, like, if I'm having a problem, I can call them. I can talk to them. If I'm on the road and, a fucking waiter brings me what I think is a seltzer and it's a fucking glass, it's just straight vodka, and I take a swig of it before I go on stage, there are comics I can text and be like, this just fucking happened. And that's happened multiple times in my career. And I just go on stage and I just talk about it.
Yeah. That's happened and you've been like, oh fuck.
Like, so many. It happened last week.
Or really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It happened not on tour with anybody, but it happened like I was at a club. I was about to go on. Somebody brought a drink that I thought was mine that was for the comic next to me, and I took a swig of it and I was like, bleh! I was like, fuck. And it's like, I'd already swallowed it.
Because you just, like, you're getting a taste of it, it's rushing back, all that. Like, it's just
you just start
feeling.
You start being like, oh, now could be the moment. Now could be, I did it.
Right.
There's like, there's just this part of you that's like, fuck,
So, after all this doom and gloom that we talk here, what's, like, the side of it that kind of, like, balances this out? Like, what is, when you kill after opening for Bert that you're like, it's all worth it, or like this made, you're not thinking about any of that shit in the moment. Like, what is it? Is it comedy? Is it Andy? Is it Mouse? Is it something completely unrelated?
Yeah. I think literally just the fact that I get to live my life doing what makes me excited.
Excited is a good word to use.
That's fucking everything.
Yeah, because it's not always happy or perfect, but like
I'm excited.
The jobs that are soul-crushingly boring,
where
you're like, I don't care about this, I don't love it, I don't like it, but I also don't hate, I don't have anything, I just don't care. You're indifferent. That shit is soul-crushing.
Right.
But to be excited, whether it's nervous, it goes good, it goes bad, but it's like, holy shit.
All of it is exciting. Yeah. I mean, even the parts that are bad, I'm like, this is all so exciting.
Yeah.
Like, when I wake up in the morning, and I was talking to Blair about this, Blair Saki, and she had said this thing where she was like, we get to do what we get paid to have fun. We get to do something that we like. It's like a miracle that we get to do it for a living, and we forget that because it's work.
You're caught up in it. Yeah.
But
every
at the
job
end of the
becomes
day,
a job. Work becomes work.
Like, it's so hard to. I mean, work becomes work, but like, when you really stop and think about it, and you really like, every time I'm fucking packing a bag again, or I'm like, I have to unpack, or I'm taking my fucking suitcase out of the closet for the 4th time this month, or whatever, and I'm like, here we fucking go, then I'm like, hold on a second, bitch.
Yeah.
You are getting paid to work for 1 hour.
Right.
1 fucking hour.
Right.
What? You get sad at the airport?
Yeah.
Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
You get paid to have fun. You get paid to talk, like to be yourself and to be the most authentic version of yourself that you cannot be in regular life. Like that shit gets me hard.
Yep.
Like when I think about just the amount of shit that's happened to me, even in the last fucking week, right? Like, I got to open for Bert at MSG, and I could be like, yeah, but you're just along for the ride. Who gives a fuck? That voice in my head can fuck off.
Yeah,
I got to be up there, and I'm like, I remember looking out, and it was so fucking beautiful that I felt bad for the audience that they had to look at me. Like, I was like, this sucks for you guys. Like,
yeah, because
what I get to see right now is so fucking cool.
Right.
And I get off stage and I'm just like, I was just like fucking jumping around. I was like, fuck, this is like, you feel in love every single, if, you know, the first stages of a relationship, you feel like that, but about life.
That's awesome.
And that's the gayest way I could say that.
Yeah,
but
no.
like 100%, that's how it feels.
Yeah, that's how you balance out all that other shit. You know? Do you ever feel like, I don't know if this is a coping mechanism for me, but when after I went through all sorts of shit, I was like, good or bad, when I'm fucking on my deathbed, I'm gonna be like, I like lived it all, you know? Because like, if it's almost like if I could give you the choice to go back, start over kind of, and you're gonna live like an average life, but you're not gonna go through trauma and tragedy, you're not gonna have, you know, you're not gonna lose a family member, you're not gonna have addiction issues, but you're also not gonna get to live a life of a comic and open up and feel that you're gonna have a fucking job at a desk, whatever. Mm-hmm. Would you take that?
Would I take the chance to change
Would you live that life? If I told you, like, you,
I wouldn't
like
change
said,
a single fucking detail of my life.
Like to me, it's like sometimes people will be like, why would I listen to you talk about like relationships after like you cheated and got divorced and it's like, that's why you should listen to what I have to say, because I went through the fucking fire, you know?
Yeah.
And so like some bad shit in life happens and I'm gonna have to deal with this with my family and this with my kids and this with myself and whatever it is. But I'm like, that's like living. That's like, and it's like, you know, I don't want to sign up for the bad shit. I don't want more bad shit to happen. But when it happens, it is kind of like, whoa, I proved something to myself, or I didn't prove something to myself, but I learned that about it and I failed, and like when it's all said and done, I'd be like, I went through the ups, the downs, the hot, the cold, like all of it. I lived.
I mean, listen, it's a weird question because I'm like, I wouldn't change anything about my life, but I also, if I had a chance, like, I would want my sister back.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right. So like, would you give that up for just that one piece, you know?
Like, I don't know. I mean, there's a chance she'd grow up and be like a huge cunt. Like, who knows?
Right.
But I
you can't live in the what if.
Yeah, right? But I think about it and I'm like, it's such a complicated question. Like, it's almost impossible to answer because you're like, yeah, I would want her to be here. I would want her to see it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to change anything else, but I wish that she was here. Mm-hmm. You know?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's an unfair question for me to put on you because I was thinking about it more as a general thing than like a specific one person.
But I think if it's like a yes or no question, if it's like an all or nothing question, then I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, because like, I mean,
because I love my life.
Right. Andy and all the good. Yeah.
And I don't think I would know myself nearly as well as I do.
Mm-hmm. You learn a lot
if I hadn't gone through that. If I hadn't, like, I don't know, there's something about like losing somebody close to you where you really get to know yourself very fucking well by losing yourself and by fucking up and like dealing with it wrong. And I dealt with it fucking wrong.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's right or wrong as much as it's like...
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yes,
like
of course. But
I didn't know...
Like in a destructive way, but it's how you get through it to then learn. So in a weird way, that's how you figured it out.
Yeah.
You know? If you didn't go like all in, maybe you would have never got through it. You wouldn't be in therapy. You wouldn't have figured it out because you would have just been like going middle of the road.
Right.
I think middle of the road is just the way to like kind of... You never fuck up, but you're never really going to succeed either. You know what I mean? You just stay in the middle and it's like, blah.
Yeah,
exactly. If you make life blah, it's just, that's not good.
No, it sucks.
Right,
I mean, sometimes I look at somebody's life and it's pretty judgmental of me, but like, I'll look at somebody's life that they're happy. They're so happy. And I look at it and I'm like, this is fucking disgusting.
Well, it's also like, are you, like, I guess if you're happy, I envy the people who are ignorant.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, they don't know or care. And maybe they're not overly ambitious, but they're also not like crazy neurotic, and they're just happy. But it's like, are you though? Like, or do you think you're happy? Like, I guess happiness is just a state of mind, right? but it's not like a tangible thing. So if this person thinks they're happy, they're happy. But if I'm like, you think you're happy, but you're not because you don't take any risks or you never went through anything bad. It's like, but if they convince themselves they're happy, then they feel that way. I guess they're fucking happy.
I really think about that a lot in the context of like a life script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the life script that we were all kind of given. Like you get married, you have kids, you get out of college, you get a job, blah blah blah. That whole whatever life script you're given as a kid. The closer people follow that, the more sorry I feel.
I know. I mean, that's...
And
I would totally was one of those people, like, if you live by the benchmarks of get married at this point, move in at this point, do kids, you know, and it's like, rather than recognizing, like, this
does
is
this
not
feel
for
right
me.
for me? Yeah.
Yeah, and I maybe need a couple more years here, or don't do this at all, or whatever. But there's just so much, like, pressure or you don't know that you can just do it the other way. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can't tell you how fucking strong the I don't know what part of the brain is like kicks in when you're like you turn 30 and you start to get to that age where it's like, okay, if you don't have kids now, like your chances of having kids get harder and like and that part of my brain is so and like that part of my life script is so fucking strong that like I'll be doing what I fucking worked for the last 10 years, just loving it. And there's still a part of me that's like, you failed because you're not a mom.
Yeah.
And like...
That sucks. That's the side, as a woman, that, you know, guys will just never understand.
Yeah, and it's... I mean, I'm like... It's also, it makes it very hard to know if you actually want kids or if you just feel like you have to have them. And I'm like, I don't know which voice is which, and I'm trying to like figure it out. I'm like in therapy trying to figure this shit out, trying to be like, what do I want?
Right.
You know,
like the biological side of you is really not like your mental or emotional. It's like your cavewoman side of you, right? That's like,
I don't even think that's fucking real. I don't even think that's fucking real. Yeah. I think that's something, I think that is part of the script. I think that's something that people tell you, oh, it's your biological clock. And I'm like, well, I never fucking wanted kids growing up. I never like...
But that's what makes me think it is. Because it's like everything else about you is saying, this isn't for me. No, so why would you even be considering it?
I've even, like, the only part, I think, of your biological urge to be a mother is after you get pregnant. So if you're already pregnant, then you're like, fuck everything I fucking cared about.
This is what matters.
This is what matters. That is like biological
That's when you're nesting and
But if you're not pregnant, you're just a woman like walking through the world. Like
I guess, but also so you've worked for 10 years at this, you're succeeding, everything's going well. Like, it would be crazy for you to jeopardize or change this right now. But there is some part of you saying that, so that's what makes you think it is biological.
No, but that's not my voice, is what I'm saying.
That's like society's voice, you think?
That's like, I want to make my husband happy. I want to make my parents happy. I want to make I want to get to a point in my life where people don't say like, you know, people are always like, oh, you're selfish if you don't have kids, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty selfish to like, I mean, what makes it selfish if I'm not caring for a person that doesn't exist? Like, why is that selfish, you know? Right.
But you think that all those things are like from social constructs?
I've just heard it my whole life.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And like you hear about single women in their fucking 30s and 40s and you're like, oh, she's like, that's sad. And it's like, is it?
Right.
Like, she's killing it.
She's rich and traveling and dating and loving life.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that I feel like these guys are kind of like the first generation that don't have to have kids.
I feel like millennials are.
Yeah, I guess. But
I feel like millennials are the ones that are like not
I think
having
we
kids.
started it, but I feel like we still feel it and are like, I'm doing it wrong, but I'm doing it anyway.
Right.
Whereas like they might be like, this is not wrong. I'm not a failure, you know what I mean?
This is just my life.
Which
I
would
get
be
to do whatever I
awesome
want.
for them and for everyone else to like come next and be like, I don't have to get married. I don't have to have kids, and truly mean it.
Yeah.
You know, and not just say it because it's like, but it sucks, doesn't it? It sucks that it feels like you have to pick career and money and freedom and fun and travel and success or family. And I was like, why can't it be both? But I guess that's kind
because of multiple fucking economic crises on top of one another, and then a health crisis, and an opioid crisis, and a fucking all
crisis,
of it.
Crisis.
Right.
Yeah. But it's just like, I always felt the thing I was not at all equipped for, and nobody teaches you this, or maybe my parents didn't, I don't know, maybe I was supposed to be taught this, but the like work-life balance and I was fucking it up on both fronts, where it was like, people at work thought that I was struggling with my family, doing too much with my family and doing too much at home.
Right.
And people at home thought I was working too much. And I was like, well, I'm not making fucking anybody happy here.
Yeah.
And neither am I, myself included. So I can't do any of this. And it feels like you have to pick one or the other. And, it's just like, well, fuck this then.
Dude.
It's like, how can you live, your adult life is supposed to be work and family, and it feels like you can't do either of them well then what is the fucking point?
Right, I'm like, why do I feel like I should have a kid when I just had to drop my dog off at my fucking mom's house? Like, what part of me thinks that that's...
close to ready for... Yeah,
and I...
Bullshit.
I've always been somebody that when... I won't do something I don't fucking feel like doing. I just won't do it. I'll find a way to fucking destroy it before I will do something I don't want to do, And I think that there's like, there's just that. There's this part of me that's like, yeah, like if I want kids and there's a time when it's right, I'll fucking have a kid. If gay men can have kids, I can have a kid.
It's a great point.
You know what I mean? I'm like, it's going to be fine.
Right.
But doing something right now because some doctor is like, well, if you don't do it now, it's going to get pretty fucking tough.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck you, fuck off. Like, putting those voices, like, away and just focusing on the thing that, like, makes me happy and that both myself and my husband are working towards. Like, I love being married without kids. I fucking love it. It's so fun to be married and, like, be friends with my husband and like...
not be like a... Yes, 100%.
It's just the shit. Like, it's what I always wanted.
I never did that. I mean, that was a huge problem. I mean, I was married in October and she was pregnant in April. So there was just, like, no time to even, like, enjoy that stage.
Yeah.
And then you dive into, like, the hardest part of your relationship.
Yeah.
And if you're not rock solid, it's like, that is a great point to just do that for a little while before. Yeah.
I mean, because we got engaged, like...
forever ago, right?
We got engaged, like, 6 months into dating. Like, we were very quick. We were like, I mean...
Well, when you both have gone through some shit and you know it and just like, this works.
Yeah, and we're both addicts, so... we move a lot faster than lesbians. Like, we just fucking...
There's U-Haul lesbians and there's fucking... I don't even know what's next for addicts.
Dude, addicts are like, we meet and we're like, we live together now.
Okay. Lesbians, military, addicts, rank them in terms of fast-moving relationships, marriage.
For sure, addicts first.
Really? Number one?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that it's the best success rate.
Yeah, but they'll be
the first to do it.
Yeah.
Then lesbian. I think lesbians and military are probably around the same.
And then if you are a lesbian
soldier, I would put lesbians ahead of military.
You are a lesbian soldier addict.
Yeah.
You are moving, girl.
Yeah. First date, somebody's pregnant.
Somebody's pregnant and we're firing guns. Someone's pregnant, we're in a war and we're moving in. It's wild, man. But it's great to. I mean, I really do genuinely feel like this is the beginning of it for you.
Thank you, dude.
I feel like it's probably so much more obvious. See, she knows. Mouse knows. She's like, yeah, you did it.
She's like, don't drop me off at your mom's house.
It feels so obvious for me, and you probably can't see it because you're in it. But it's like, I said to Feidelberg the other day, I was like, it happened for Rosebud. It did. It happened, and it's like it's not done by any means, but like when you're on the downside now, meaning it's going to be easy. It's a downhill fight now, and you're just going to like roll with it, and it's going to keep growing.
Dude, I hope so. I can't wait until like the no's start turning into yeses. Like, I can't fucking wait. It's happening pretty slowly, but it's like, it's starting to happen, and I'm like...
It'll be there.
It's gonna... Yeah, and it's nice. Thank you for saying that, because it's nice when people are, like, genuinely happy for you. It feels good,
Yeah, like, man, I'm sure in the industry it's tough because, like, it's competitive and other people and all that shit, but being on the outside of it, it's just like... Because it's just, you're genuinely, like, funny and like, you don't give a fuck, and you just say it, and it's like... I'm happy that worked, because when I see like a TikToker or someone who succeeds, I'm like, whatever, there's a market for that, and they get a special or they get a show or whatever, they get their money because they dance, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But when I see like one from like our people, it's like, good. The world's getting it right, especially now where it's like, there's a lot of people who might not get that chance. Yeah. But like, she says what the fuck she wants. I mean, Whiskey Fist is like, there are moments in Whiskey Fist I'm like, oh my God, girl. Like, this bitch is crazy. And the audience knows it, and and the way that special was done, where like you had the people who are like, I don't know who she is going in, and then like you see that there's some groans and some like uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bomb. Like when I watch it, I'm like,
it's not.
I kind of made.
Well, there's a difference between like earned silence.
Yeah.
And like you're not funny silence, but when there's like a groan and just like a hush over the crowd, it's like, holy fuck. I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now.
Like,
that is awesome. That's
I
the best kind
definitely
of
put
comedy.
it on YouTube because I was like, well, they'll laugh at fucking home. You know what I mean? I was like,
that social pressure.
I think that, and also like I did it in Nashville because it's so funny. Like the people who are like, yeah, COVID's not real and free speech and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, well, let's see how great your sense of humor is.
Right, yeah. You want to like, let's take it to the limit. Let's go.
Let's make Jesus jokes. Yeah. Let's make abortion jokes. And I like that. Like, I love a crowd that is not necessarily on my side. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was I was like, I want my first special to feel like a real show. Mm-hmm. Like, I want it to feel like a real fucking show.
Yeah, it was not like this overly produced, like, manicured thing.
Yeah.
That is such a good point, too, though, that those type of crowds who are, like, kind of, they fancy themselves to be, like, rough and tough.
Oh, they're all the same fucking people.
But you make fun of, like, their guns or their Jesus or something. It's like, it's like, you all got your hot button issues, too. Triggered goes all around to everybody.
100%. They're all the same fucking person.
Snowflakes goes both ways.
It's all just, like, people they come to comedy shows to nod. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You don't belong here.
Right. Laugh, enjoy it.
Yeah.
See you at UFC.
Yeah, see you at UFC.
At the end of the day, we're all just looking to like go to UFC, right? Just be fucking
Get
animals.
in the ring and fight each other, for fuck's sake.
Amen. Whiskey Fists. And Mouse.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Mouse, you were good. You were a good girl.
She was great.
She didn't try to fuck anybody at Barstool. Good job.
And nobody tried to fuck her. All right, the holiday season is approaching. All I want for Christmas this year is YouTube subscribers. We got to get to 100,000. I want that 100,000 plaque. We've got a goal for all you out there, for everybody. At 100,000 subscribers, Polly Feidelberg will join us on the show. Maybe. Well, if not, we'll probably have to trick her into it. But at 100K, you will get Polly content. So subscribe, click the bell icon so you get notifications so that you're always watching. Leave a comment below. Talk about it. Post about it. Spread word. Tell your friends. 100,000 subscribers on KFC Radio for Polly Feidelberg. Let's make it happen.